What is not used in the diagram to find area? You could have said C.
I said height.
You could have said height. Not crazy about the top. Elena, did you need something or are you raising a hand?
Well, I'm stretching.
Oh, okay. I was just checking. All right, number 4. So what is the height or part C used to find? The volume. Okay, you use it to find the volume. So in number 5, I wanted you to find the volume of the cube. So what is the volume of the cube? 24 centimeters cubed.
Y'all was ready.
Okay. So in number 6, if you use the volume from number 5 and the mass from number 6, what can we find?
Density.
You can find the density. So number 6 is density for those of you who left that blank. So in number 7, I want you to find the density. So you got to use the mass, which is a number 6, which is that 156, and the volume in number 5, which you just told me was what? 24. So when you find the density, you get 6.53 grams over centimeters cubed. You know, you can round to 6.5. I rounded off to 6.53 centimeters cubed. Because remember, when you're doing this, this is what we talked about with our units yesterday. Wake up, board. We have the mass. So the mass in number 6 was 156.78. Okay, so our density is mass divided by volume. And our volume is 24, which is what most people do. But you have to remember that the mass is grams and the volume is centimeters cubed. Are either of those units the same?
No.
No. So are they going to cancel each other out? No. So when you divide and you get 6.53, you have to write both of those units in your answer because neither of them are going anywhere. Okay, they both stay. All right, number 8, find the area. Nope, volume on the wrong question. Number 8, find the volume. So 56 centimeters cubed. All right, number 9 is find the area. So you get 14 centimeters squared.
I keep forgetting. I keep playing cube.
Okay. Area is length times width. So we're multiplying 7 centimeters times 2 centimeters. So a centimeter times a centimeter is centimeters squared. Okay, but when you do a volume, it's length times width times height. So that's 3 things. So that's why it's a cubed. You have what? 7 centimeters by 2 centimeters by 4 centimeters. So that's why we got 56 and we have centimeters cubed because there's 3 of them when you do volume. Does that make sense? Okay. Number 10, you're finding density again. So when you do this one, you get 3.2. So when you do density, you have 35.6 grams divided by 11.1 milliliters. So again, are these units the same?
No.
So when you write 3.2, you have to keep both units. Now, number 11 would be 90.4 grams. Questions about that one? All right. And I would imagine there's some questions on this one. All right. What have they given you in the question? What are they saying? What is the? What are they asking you to find? You're looking for mass. You're looking for the M. Okay. So we're not going to have a number there. So they gave us D and V. So when you read the question, what is that 38.5 milliliters? Is that a density or a volume?
Volume.
That's a volume. See how it says volume of 38.5? They're telling you that's the volume. Now, if you keep reading, what would that 2.35 be? That's the density. Now, this is what I was trying to show you. Come back. This is what I was trying to show you the other day. Okay, cross multiply. What's 1 times m? Okay, the variable's now by itself. This times this. When you multiply it, you get 90 point, and I'm going to round off. I'm not writing all those numbers on the calculator. 1 decimal place is enough. If you want 2, that's fine. Don't go beyond 2. All right, drop the rest of them beyond 2 off. All right, this was grams per milliliter, and this was milliliter. Do they have anything in common?
Milliliter.
So what's going to happen to them?
You can cancel them.
Yep, and this will stay what?
Gram.
Yes. Okay. Now, the last thing we have is to find the length of a box with a volume. If you want to find length and you have volume, what's the only formula we learned that had volume and length? What was the formula? We learned 3 formulas yesterday, reviewed 3. What were the 3 we did?
You said volume.
Mm-hmm.
Air.
Those are the 3 formulas we did. So tell me what they are. All right, length times width. Okay, so if they want us to find length and they gave us a volume, which one of those would be useful? All right, does density have length and volume? It has volume, but doesn't have length. We need this one because it has this and it has this. It has the 2 pieces they're asking for. Gives us length and volume. Okay, so now let's look at what they gave us in the question. All right, it's asking me for length. So we got to solve for L. So the rest of it has to be there. So what they give us in the question? What's my volume?
34.
Okay. What's my width?
2.
What's my height?
4.
All right, so if you're sitting in math class, what do you do to solve? It's called combining like terms in math class. 2 times 4 is 8. And what do you do to get L by itself? Divide by? Yep. All right, 4.25. And be centimeters. All right, questions? Anybody? Yes? No? All right, the math is not on the quiz today. All right, I will not be there today. Questions? All right, if you will, you need a writing utensil and nothing else. You don't need a calculator, you don't need a formula sheet, you don't need anything. None of this is on the quiz.
Is that so we just did I'm going
What?
all that.
Stop. You listen to anything. I should just let y'all stumble blindly through the I don't listen to anything I say anyway.
You know, it's coming from my own work. I was thinking about stuff like
You know, sometimes I wish I could just go into y'all's minds to see what's going on there. Because it's clear that there's nothing going on that's related to my class.
I mean I was focused in that, you know.
His mind would be LSD.
Wait, what?
LSD what?
I don't know what's LSD. All I heard was his mom like
What do you think about it?
Take it in option to make it up. Okay.
Maybe went my mind.
All right, if you would be so kind, like the lab yesterday,
Like the man.
please put your first and last name till I learn who you are.
I don't know everything like that.
All right, that's fun. You got to be quiet. Or I'll move you away from our nest stove. Here, while we're doing the quiz, go sit at that back counter. Because I'm fearful you don't try to talk. Jeremiah, same for you to be quiet. All right, everybody got a paper? I didn't miss anybody other than my two who's been absent for the first day of the course and they're making it up. All right, it shouldn't take very long. Done. Let's flip it over for y'all.
What are you laughing at back there? What are you doing back there? So what are you doing back there? Put it up.
They're all taking the quiz, why don't you get to play on yours? I mean, I suppose as punishment, we can just make you do it too. We done? Who needs more time? Anybody? So I got 1, 2. It's okay. If you need another minute, I'll give you another minute. Are we done now? Anybody not? All right, match papers to the front of your row. Now, this is the 3rd grade of the course so far, right? So for those of you who don't check your Power School regularly, you need to learn to do that. Because I keep grades in Power School pretty regular, right? It was down this weekend, but I thought it would come back up on Monday. It was down for maintenance this weekend, and it came back up for the staff Monday morning. So I don't know if it's back up for y'all, but I would have thought it was.
It was for me.
Because I put in today your lab from yesterday, the homework we just checked, and I'll grade your quizzes if not later today, since my son has orientation tonight. Since he's got orientation tonight, it'll probably be sometime tomorrow, but I'll grade your quizzes. Because I doubt I get it done before I leave school. And since I've got to go to tour freshman orientation, probably won't be tonight. Ernesto. Becky. Walter.
So when you measure the water, right, you count at the lowest part of
Yes, the lowest part.
that one? I got that one.
Get off the phone. This one I'm gonna take it if I see it again. I was kind during the quiz, since you had nothing to do.
I don't care. I was close.
Annie, and keep these out. We need to talk about it for a second. Because you have another bigger lab we're gonna start, not today, first thing tomorrow when you get here. I'm working on it. Esperanza.
No way. Oh my God.
It's half blank.
It's wrong.
What? This is what I'm talking about. So, in the grand scheme of things,
But like, I thought I did it right. Like, I thought I did it.
Oh. Oh.
by the time you're done with the semester, this will count so little it's unreal. Okay?
You really can't get that off.
Yeah, I really did.
Why are you complaining? You got better than me. What you get?
Now, people ask me all the time, do I grade harshly? The answer to that is
Yes.
really
Yes.
no, but you guys will all tell me yes.
I've never got that kind of before.
What? Because you did it
I
backwards?
used the wrong thing.
Dude, those are units and those are equipment. This column says equipment and that column says units. You're the wrong column. I didn't take all 15.
The beat, I already had dropped the beat, so I was in a rush. I'm like, oh my God, I dropped the beat.
Oh my God, what is the right column?
No. That's rounded.
Dude, you don't round up.
Oh my God.
Subtract.
Mine is 5 points though.
It's not right. I went and subtracted. There were 27 lab papers. I subtracted on every single one of them. A 99. You should grab a unit.
So
Now, Anthony's done arguing for his points. Now, things you lost points for. A, if there are units missing in the data table, or letters as Esperanza called them. Alright, you have to have units on the data. The lab that we're going to do next, I'll just pull out the sheet so you can see it. Alright? You're all blanks in the data table. You forget units, and I take off -1 on all those. What happens?
They're great though.
Like in the F range, and all you did was forget the units.
Man, you please say that again, I was bad.
No kidding.
it just be in my mind.
You have to put the units in your data table. If you forget the units, you can flunk the lab, and you didn't do anything but forget the units. Okay? When you measure a mass, what unit goes on the end of a mass? Grams. When you find a volume, what goes on the end? Milliliters. If you forget, all you have to do is look at it. It has it written on the graduated cylinder. It has it on the scale. They're there. If you forget that they're there, and you go, what's the unit for mass? I will probably tell you, or I will show it to you on the equipment so you can get it. Yes.
You know how to square down the bottom? You really put your things down?
You
Oh my God.
didn't do that either, I know. All right, units are a -1 deduction from now
98.
until December. Nothing changes.
You said.
I won't forget.
Wait, were they supposed to be?
No, hold on. Now, the second thing people did wrong is they didn't subtract right on the mass of the beaker, to the mass of the beaker in the water, to the mass of the water. Now, your Anthony's like, round it. There's no round it. Use a calculator
42.6.
and go get 42.6 and don't round it up to 43. Okay? Because I know y'all think I'm crazy, but I spent my time this morning on the calculator checking to make sure y'all subtracted right. No, you didn't. Okay? Now, you round it to a whole number. Okay? Don't do that crap ever again.
No.
Okay? You put the decimal down. Because if you didn't, it was -5. Your answer was wrong. That's the second thing. I told you to use centimeters to read the lengths of the paper. The length of the paper is roughly 28 by 22 centimeters, roughly. Some of y'all had 29. I don't know where that extra centimeter came from. Some of y'all had 24 centimeters. I don't know what y'all measured, but I tried not to get real bad out of shape. Now, when y'all got to 32 centimeters, I just flat marked it wrong. Those of you who said it was 11 centimeters, that crap's in inches, people. That's in inches. I wrote -5. It's not in centimeters anymore. Okay? Oops, wrong side of the ruler. Okay? It was -5.
I didn't know.
I know. So we're correcting it. This is one grade out of many grades you'll have. By the time we finish this semester, just this quarter alone, you will have somewhere around 45 grades. This is not going to count that much. The thing I'm saying to you is, on the next lab, pay attention to detail and fix it. Okay? You do not have time to go sit at the counter, though, and socialize and not do your work. Now, on the answer, Anthony's all upset because I did not take where he flip-flop stuff and then say, okay, it's fine. No, it's not fine. Put it in the right columns. All right?
on this 42 point, around the 43.
That's not getting any better. You might as well stop
If
arguing.
it goes over, like, 0.5, if it goes over 5, then you round it to the next number.
Just subtract it correctly on the calculator and write down the answer. Don't round. It was not. You do not round 42.6 to 43. Write 42.6 and it'll be good. Okay? Now, on the bottom chart, some of y'all put things in the wrong columns. That costs points. Some of y'all didn't answer the questions correct. In the column that said equipment, I meant to your right, what piece of equipment did you have on the counter to figure it out? Some of y'all put, I'm not even going to say the column. All right, and the column for the units. So y'all wrote numbers. If you're confused about a question in the future, please just come ask me. I know sometimes people tell me I'm intimidating. I really try hard not to be. Try hard. Sometimes I'm just not successful. Okay?
I mean, ML.
Well, you meant ML, but you wrote MM. I can't, like I said, sometimes I wish I could go in your minds, but I probably want to erase screen. So it's probably good that I can't go in there. Alright, so, if you're confused about a question, ask. I will try my hardest to point you in the right direction. Okay? But the units were like on the quiz today. So I wanted things like ML for volume, or liter for volume. Not numbers, but some of y'all only wrote 1, not 2 like the lab asked for. So that was an automatic -5 for the whole column. So you lost 20 points and you only wrote 1. Those of you who left the whole column blank, there's 40 points. Just for the column.
Do you take 1 point off if you don't put the thing
Each
on?
answer was -5. So the 2 answers, you lost 10 for that line.
You take 1 point off if you don't put it back on the quiz. How many points you take off and then put it in?
6.
Wait, what?
What?
I didn't. Hold on.
What,
You
you
got
got
units like at the
units?
bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Units are always -1.
Oh.
I thought you were at the top, like you forgot, like one of the 2 units, like one of the examples.
Don't do that.
No, at the bottom would be -1.
Okay, what about if you did like the whole question wrong, there was on the
On the quiz,
Yeah.
-6.
Which
Which question are we talking about?
The bottom.
-6.
Okay.
So you.
I'm getting 94, it's fine.
It's only a 94. That's good.
No, I'm getting
No, I had a
98.
90, if I got the rest correct.
That's not bad. That's pretty good. That's all right. All right. Let's talk about reading by difference. Because some of us are going to struggle with this in this lab. And you might not need to write any of this down, and that's cool if you don't. We just need to talk about it and practice it. Yeah.
You said we all have to write it down?
Units or like the ML?
The thing on the end. Yes. Yes. Like I said, do not beat yourself up if you didn't do well today. We are going to have lots of grades over the course of this quarter. Okay? Lots of them. All right, what we're going to talk about is measurement by difference. And you did this yesterday, so we're just going to talk about it because 3 of the 4 activities you're going to do in this lab are going to require you to do measurement by difference. Okay? 3 of the 4 are going to require this. You use measurement by difference for liquids, and irregular shaped objects. So, for example, you used it yesterday to find the mass of water. Okay, that's what we used it for, was to find the mass of water. So, what did we know yesterday to find the mass of water? Can anybody tell me what we had to use or what did we know? We had to subtract. So what 2 things do we know? What 2 things did you measure?
Oh.
The mass of something. Okay, we had to know the mass of the beaker. All right, so we had to know the mass of the beaker. And what else do we have to know? Yep. We had to know the mass of the beaker and the water. Now, somebody said subtract them. Now, what's the purpose in subtracting these 2 things? Because what's going to happen to the mass of the beaker? They cancel each other out. Okay? These 2 things cancel each other out, and you're left with just the water. That's why it's called finding the mass by difference, because the masses of those will cancel. You can do the exact same thing with volume also. And you're going to do this in the lab. Okay? And that's probably all you're going to need to write for right now. Okay, I'm going to show you 2 data tables. We're going to talk about how they work. And I'm going to give you a sheet that has some graphics on it that you can refer to in the lab if you get stuck. And I'm busy helping somebody else. You'll have a way to refer to something. And then we'll see if we can get started today. I don't know if we'll be able to, but we'll see. All right, does everybody have what they need? All right, so this is the data table you used yesterday. So when you had, and I'm just going to make up a number. All right, let's say our beaker weighed 106.2 grams. All right, and you put some water in it, and it weighed 157.4 grams. All right, when I subtract, first of all, I'm going to use a calculator to make sure I do it right. And secondly, I'm not going to follow Anthony's lead and round.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that's the last time I'm going to say that to you. Okay, so 157.4 subtract 106.2. And I get 51.2 grams. Okay? Is everybody okay with that? Because the mass of the empty beaker is going to subtract out, and I'll be left with the water. This is what you did yesterday. Notice when I filled out my data table. What did I not skip writing down in all 3 parts?
Units.
Okay? You have to get where you do that also. Now, this one we did not do yesterday. All right? You're going to do this with the zinc metal and with Play-Doh. Yeah, I'm gonna make you play with Play-Doh in the water. So it's gonna be kind of gross.
We're gonna do that today.
The zinc and the Play-Doh you will not get to today. That'll be tomorrow. You should have time to maybe do the water today, which will be part A. So, you got a marble. Zinc and the Play-Doh work just like a marble. It's round. What's the only one we've learned to find the volume of an object right now?
That long thing.
Yeah.
Alright, so what'd you do?
Graduated.
Well, we have used a graduate
Put the
cylinder.
water in.
Put the water in it and read it, okay? So if we put a marble in it and read it, is the marble gonna take up all the space? No, so that's not very accurate. Okay, what's the other way we've learned to find volume?
Find the density of the mass.
Okay, we don't know, we can look up the density, probably Google it online. Alright, and we can find its mass and calculate it that way with something that we learned to calculate here last day. Length times width times height. Okay, we can measure its length, width, and height. Can we find the length, width, and height of a marble? No. Okay, so this is why I said in the notes, we can use difference to find the shape of an irregular shaped marble. So we're going to use the graduated cylinder, but we're going to use water to do it so we can measure its volume. So the initial volume, when I say empty, that just means without the marble. Okay? So in the lab, I tell you to put in like fill the graduated cylinder half full. In this case, I put how much? 20 milliliters. Okay? So 20 milliliters of water is in the graduated cylinder. So I'm going to add the marble. What's going to happen to the water in the graduated cylinder? It's going to rise. Okay? So let's say that my marble goes up to that. All right, so how much did it go up to? What volume did it rise to?
24.
24? Okay. So my volume is now 24 milliliters. So what would be the volume of the marble if it started at 20 and it went to 24? It would be 4 milliliters, which is much more accurate than saying, oh, it's 10 milliliters on the side of the graduated cylinder, because it doesn't take up all of that 10 milliliters of space. Now, there's a lot of empty space around the marble. So by using the water, we can see how much the water went from being empty to adding the marble and how much the water went up. It's called reading by difference. You see how we did that? Okay, because you're going to do that with several objects in the lab. All right.
We be bundled. Different.
Gotcha. I speak French or Spanish. Last time I had Spanish was a really long time ago. I was in high school. And then I went to college, and my professor decided, you know, you're a chemistry major. You should take German. Yeah, I should have never listened to the full.
Speak German. Speak German.
Yeah, take German.
Yeah, long, she said it a long time. Okay.
It was not useful in my degree program or in life. Stuck with Spanish. Say it again.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it. It's been a while. I mean, this thing.
All right, everybody get a
Yeah, we're
pass.
gonna make above the 90.
Okay?
I said me. That's
No, down from the bottom. One of the back.
Oh, I see.
Hey, you got me something.
I don't know, man.
All right. So we want to read the scale. All right. So if we have the scale right there, and I blew it up pretty big. All right, what can you tell me that mass says? All right, what's the middle beam say?
Oh, that little beam, that little beam.
That little middle beam says right there. Okay, so I hear 100.
It's like 8 beams.
I hear what is that?
50.
Okay, let me move that down a little bit here. Plus 50, and they said what for right there? 2.2. So is everybody okay with 152.24
Ground.
right there?
Oh.
Yeah, they already wrote the G, so y'all can't forget that one. But it's good that you yelled that, Anthony. All right, is everybody okay with the math?
Yeah.
All right, now they want you to find the volume, and this is actually part C of the lab. Okay, so how are you gonna find the volume of a block? Okay,
Back here.
so 2 times 3 times 3 is what?
18.
Okay, and they've got centimeters cubed over there. All right, so find the density. You got your calculators?
None of us do.
Oh, look at that. It's a
We gotta get a-
calculator that
Give me
Yes,
one,
get
Dad.
calculator.
She's awesome. It's right there. Is that a plastic?
Sit down. You're welcome.
It caught on, hey, it caught on my shoes now. It caught on my shoes messing up. Right, yeah, about 2 years.
All right, we got a calculator? Find me the density.
8.456.
Round off to no more than 2 places.
Man, I'm getting out of math tomorrow. So happy.
You're getting out of what?
Math, a new teacher, I can't understand.
That's great.
And I'm getting out of that class.
All right, so density is 152.2 divided by 18. So you get 8.45. Is everybody okay with that? You can put 8.5, you can put 8.4, I don't care. I'm just telling you not to go more than 2 places past the decimal. All right, so the next question. If you cut object A into 2 equal parts, what is the density of 1/2? If you cut it in half. Anthony, Kimberly, stop.
Oh my God.
Well, it's not mine.
No, it's like.
All right. If you cut object A in half, what's its new density?
So we can divide that by 2.
That's my question. Do we divide it by 2? If you cut it in half.
Yes.
Okay.
4.25.
So we have something that has a mass of 152.2 grams, right? We're going to cut it in half. What's the mass of A over here? If we cut it in half, what's
76.1.
okay, so the mass is 76.1. So the mass on this half would be 76.1. All right, so the volume was 18, right? So what will be the volume on this half?
9.
What will be the volume on this half?
9.
Okay, so if I ask you to refine the density on this half and this half, can you do that?
I sure can.
Yeah.
Okay, find me the density.
8.
So the density of A is 8.45. What's the density of B?
8.45.
So what can you tell me about the 2 densities?
That's fine.
They're the same thing. Why they're the same thing? What can you tell me about the material?
Oh, it's the
Is it the same material or is it a different material?
same.
It's the same material. Okay? The density doesn't change because you cut it in half. In a little while, if we get to it, which I think we're going to, all right, when y'all are all finding the density of water, what kind of water are y'all going to be using? Tap water. Is everybody going to use the same amount of tap water?
No.
No. But should the density of the tap water be the same?
Yeah,
Yeah, because y'all are all using what?
the same material.
The same material. Okay? Density doesn't change if you have the same material. When y'all all get a sample of ice, does the ice float?
Yes,
Yeah, because it's all what?
the same material.
It's all the same material. Okay? You okay over there?
A flea, where?
They're gnats.
That's not no flea.
It's a gnat. They're all over the science building. It's okay. They're not harmful. They're just irritating. It's okay. They're just irritating. I get it.
What was it? To bring the nets in here?
We don't have any idea where they came from or why they're here. They just arrived. We don't know if it was the rainforest in there that Ms. Rector has that created the mold or if they just came, but they're just here. Okay? What? If you round up to 8.5, you just have 8.5 and 8.5. You'd have to round up there too. It was not different. What'd you get? Yeah, because you divide it by 2. You don't divide it by 2. You got to divide the mass in half and the volume in half. You can't just divide the density in half. Okay? So, to finish the question, how does the density of A compare to the density of B? They're the what?
Same.
They're the same. Why are they the same if I ask you on the test?
It's the same material.
That's right. They're the same. And because
Oh, I'm on the wrong side.
the same material. I guess I should shrink that just a little bit. Okay? They're the same because they're the same material. All right, so in part B, they gave you a mass. They're telling you this is the mass of this thing they're shoving in the graduated cylinder. So we got to read the graduated cylinder this time. Can you tell me what this is right there? What it's reading? The original fluid level. What does it look like it's at?
It's 250. It's 40. 40 50.
250.
Okay, I hear 250s. Looks like it's about halfway, so I'd probably go 250. Okay, so 250. All right. So if we look here, what does that look like it's at right there now?
About 300.
Okay, we look right there. What do you think?
300.
Hey, honey.
All right, so the volume of object B as indicated by the change in fluid. So what do we do if I want the change?
Subtract.
You got to subtract. So this is what you're going to be doing every time you add something to the graduated cylinder. You've got to read the original. You've got to read the addition. And what do you do with the two amounts? You subtract. Every year I get people who do what with these two numbers? They add them. You don't add, you subtract. So you say 300 minus 250 to get 50 ml. Very good. All right, so on the back side, yep, it wants us to calculate calculate the density. So the density is equal to, what was the mass they gave us? One what? 125? Oh. I'm back.
It was 152. No, 125.
You're jumping up there to A. Come back down here to B.
I'm sure.
Down here to B. That's 125 over, what's the volume?
50 ml.
So what do we get?
2.5.
All right, we're jumping over C. We're going to D. All right, so here we go with the graduated cylinder again. All right, what's the volume? What volume do we have right here?
65,
Okay. What volume do we have after we add the object?
90,
Okay, so 65 to 90. What do we do to find the volume level? So 90 minus 65. I hear 35 and I hear 25.
it's 35.
Use your calculator.
Oh, I told y'all.
That's why I keep telling y'all use your calculators. All right, I will check your math on the lab sheets. All right, use the formula to solve. I can tell you now, see how they've rearranged the formula? I will not do that for y'all. Okay, so don't get used to that. You need to be able to take your formula like this and solve, because I will not give you that. Okay, they gave you a density of what right here? 1.4. The mass is what we're looking for. And the volume is what? 25. So how would you solve? So M is equal to, what's 1.4 times 25? 35. Okay, check your units. And what happens in those two units?
They cross out
Which ones?
the C and the M, so it'd be
And so you're left with what? Yep. Everybody feel okay about how to use the equipment today? Oh, I can move it up.
Caleb, you're doing it.
Two crosses.
I can make it smaller. Is that better?
Yeah.
Alright, do we feel okay about how to use the scale and the graduated cylinders?
Yes.
Know what we're doing?
I guess.
You guess. How do you feel about holding the beaker today? Feel confident?
I'm voting.
Yo, he's holding this. Okay.
It was his fault. Right, we was done. It was
Alright,
just.
I'm gonna let you hand out papers while I pull up what I need. One down, everybody.
I forgot how you said it. I don't know why. Have you ever just like been hungry? You don't know why you're hungry.
Yeah, probably because you don't have enough food.
No, I ate.
Oh, you
Like,
ate?
I'm not hungry, but I'm hungry. What is this? You should have.
Lab sheet.
brownies. No, for what this?
What? That's a gas nozzle. We won't be using them here. I will use those in
Cans for
chemistry.
days.
So you turn it on, gas will come out.
Not at the moment. Not on. Here, you can handle it.
Are you?
Alright, so if you look at the paper you have in front of you, alright, there are 4 parts to the lab. They're labeled A, B, C, and D. Alright, you should be able to finish part A before you get out of here today. Okay, I haven't even gotten out the supplies for B, C, and D. I'll talk about those tomorrow. Okay? We're gonna try to finish A. Now, the directions are set up to go with the data table. So if you look at the lab sheet, see how it has directions for A? That's data table A. You need to complete A and finish data table A before you move on to directions B and data table B. Okay? Now, the data table is set up so that if it has X's in the boxes, So these 4 boxes have no numbers written in them. Anything that has an X has no numbers. Everybody go with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So when the directions say find the mass of a beaker, you're going to write down the mass of the beaker in this box. Find the mass of the beaker in the water. You're going to write it down here where it says beaker and water. Find the the volume. You're going to find the volume of the water, and you're going to write it here. Now, in the directions, do I say subtract to find the mass of the water?
No.
No, you're going to have to do that and put it here yourself. Okay, I don't tell you to do that. Now, once you have a number, and I'll just make one up, and we'll say it's 49.6 grams, and I'll say that you have 48 you won't have a decimal there, milliliters. Okay, the calculation. You have to show me the calculation. This is where people go off the rails. You listen to Anthony because you tend to zone out on me. All right, you got to show me the calculation. You listen to Shelby? You're not on your phone. All right, density equals mass over volume. You have to show me 49.6 divided by 48, and you got to get an answer and put it in this calculation box. So I know what you did to get the answer. Yep, you have to show your work. Without it, you lose points. 3. So they count all the calculation boxes on the lab and take 3 points off for each one and tell me you don't want to do it. Okay. All right. Everybody okay with the directions? Groups of, hold on, let me scout. I got 26 today. Groups of 2.
Come on, buddy.
Groups of 2.
Don't take off.
I got 26. You're going to have to stay for lunch, can't you, after one more? What lunch do you have this year? Right in that good.